So when I'm out here doing wildflower photography, I like to look around the bases of these big trees and see if there's a background that could anchor the flower when you take just the flower picture. So you look at something like this right here. Now that's not a flower, but that's an example of what I'm talking about. I'll get something up here in a little bit and show you what I'm talking about. But I like to, whatever it is, it could be a rock with some moss on it, or a tree with some moss at the bottom of the tree. Something interesting in the background to kind of anchor the flower instead of just dead leaves. That's what you got on the forest floor right now is dead leaves from the last fall. So here's a small example of what I'm talking about. See these little flowers right there? And then the tree kind of anchors that out. So even if you're doing a close-up shot or a macro shot, that would be a pretty nice little composition. At least it would be something different besides brown leaves. Another composition tip is try to find clumps of flowers like this right here, and then you can get in real close to them with your camera, and you'd have several different petals inside the frame, and that gives it some interest. Well, we're back here to the first bridge you cross off the trail. 5 people or 1,000 pounds. Well, that'd be like 4 people with what I weigh. Cool little bridge. There's some dwarf crested iris. I got several pictures of dwarf crested irises. Don't need any more. Well, I was coming up the trail, and right in front of me was a composition. And this is a good example of a foreground with a background interest. So these flowers right here, I'm gonna turn the camera around so you can see them. These flowers right here are embedded in the crack of that tree. And I'm gonna stop right here and take a photograph of those. And I'm gonna show those photographs on the video now.
So here's the image of the long spur violets. I took about 6 images and focused on each petal of the flower and then blended them in Photoshop to bring out the focus in each flower. I didn't use all 6, I only used 3 images, so not every flower is in focus. The camera settings were 1/800th of a second shutter at f5 and the ISO was 640. I did not apply any noise reduction to this photograph. The main goal here was to show you a composition.
Well, I was walking up the trail towards Emery Gap Waterfall, and on the trail just to my left near a rock, I found this. A jack in the pulpit right there. There's 2 more jack in the pulpits. They're right there, right behind each other. So that's 3 up here that I can photograph.
This is the jack in the pulpits. The first time I've seen 2 of them side by side like this, where I was able to frame them up in the photograph. They're kind of hard to find, and you have to really look closely. And on the next image that I'm about to show you is a variegated jack in the pulpit. This one was not at Frozen Head, but was taken at the Ozone Falls area.
I'm gonna look around here just a little bit more. I bet there's some more up here. I'm looking for a better composition. Those are just out there amongst the dead leaves. Let's go across the bridge and have a look. Well, that's exciting. I found 3 of them. Well, here's another treat right here. This right here, I photographed some of this over where I work. And it's called, I only think what the name of it is now. Cancer root or bear claw root, it's called. But supposedly it grows around certain oak trees. Well, I don't see an oak tree right here, so I'm not too sure what it's doing growing out here. But I'm gonna have to come back and photograph it too. And in addition to that, I see a trout lily. It's right here. There's just one of them by itself. It's right there. It's not a pretty one, but it is a trout lily. I bet there's more around here somewhere. We're gonna head on up to the waterfall on the trail and see what we can find.
The bear corn that I stumbled across at Frozen Head turned out to be not very photogenic. It was on its way out. It had already reached its full potential. But this image right here is one I took earlier in the month at another location of bear corn.
So we made it up to the top of Emery Gap Falls. There it is right behind me. And not look too bad today, but it looks like there's a tree that's come down in front of the falls. So I'm gonna try to get over that other side, see if I can get a photograph over there.
So this is a 3-second shot at f11 of Emery Gap Falls.
Well, we left Frozen Head State Park after a morning of wildflower photography, and I was heading back home, but I decided to stop up here at the Obed Wild and Scenic Lily Bridge, or Lily Access area they call it, to see if there's any wildflowers down on the bridge trail. So we're going to go down there and see what is materializing. It's a little bit different environment here at Obed, and different elevation too. So hang in there. I was just walking down the path here and I heard a barred owl hooting up in the trees, calling. So maybe I'll get to see him down here in the woods. We'll just take our time down through here and see if he shows himself. Be pretty cool if I could see one today. I haven't seen one for a long time, probably about a year. So we're heading down the bridge trail, going to the top of Upper Melton Mill Falls, Melton Mill Branch Falls. And we're gonna go down here and see what the water flow's like. Just kind of stopping by here on the way home. I don't see many wildflowers on this trail where I'm at. A lot of rhododendron up here. So we're gonna make our way down here to a little social trail. I can hear the water running. Sounds like it's flowing pretty good down there. Maybe I'll get some good images today. So we deviated a little bit from the wildflower hike. Can't resist the waterfall. Looks pretty good today. This is above Upper Melton Mill Branch Falls. I believe we'll shoot some HDR and focus stack it. That's set up. Bracketing on for 3 shots, 2 stops. 2-second timer set up for 3 shots. That way you don't have to press the shutter button one time. And we'll focus down here in the bottom. And it'll take 3 shots. And we'll focus in the middle. Three shots. And in the background. All right, that's pretty good. We'll call that good and see what it looks like when we get it home.
So this is a cascade above the waterfall. I didn't do a focus stack on this. This is a single image shot at 1/6 of a second, f/16 at ISO 100, using the 14 to 30 millimeter lens at 20 millimeters.
Okay, we're at the top of the Melton Mill Branch Falls. I've never been up to the top before like this. Didn't know you could get here. So I'm gonna set up and take some photographs here. This is my first time up here. A lot different view from up here. That's where we normally are, down there at the bottom, all the way down there.
If you'll notice on the left side, the hemlock tree that has fallen into the plunge pool, that's normally where we stand at the lower part of this falls. This is the first time I've climbed up above it. There's not a lot of room to stand up there, and there's not a lot of areas to get a composition. So this shot was at 1/5 of a second f/16 aperture with the 14 to 30 set at 14 millimeters.
Well, it's gonna wrap it up at the waterfall. We're gonna head on back to the car. Time to get home. Been a good day. Waterfalls, wildflowers, and we'll get up here to the car and we'll say goodbye. Coming out of this waterfall, it's a little bit steep. It's not really a trail. It's just a path. But it was worth it to see the top of Melton Mill Branch Falls. Never been up there to the top before. Big old rock up there, right there. Well, that'll finish it up for today, April the 17th, 2022. Our little tour around Morgan County, Tennessee. We started off this morning at Middle Fork Falls at daybreak, and we made our way over to Frozen Head State Park and hiked about 5 miles over there, photographing wildflowers, and boy, there was a bunch of them there. Then on the way home, I decided to take a little side trip to the Lily Bridge to the upper Melton Mill Branch Falls area and do some photography there. So we had a full day of photography. Got to try out the 70 to 200 2.8, and we'll show some pictures in the video.
Well, I forgot to say goodbye in the video, so here I am saying goodbye. And I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you do, give me a subscribe, please. A thumbs up would be appreciated, and tick the little bell there so you get notifications when I put out videos in the future. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you in the next adventure.